The Wellness Show, Episode 55.
Welcome to The Wellness Show, a podcast on health and wealth. I'm your host, Tyson Bannigan, the founder of the Extraordinary Healing Arts Academy. Join me as we get the latest insight, tips, and strategies from wellness providers, coaches, and successful, heart-centered entrepreneurs, and much, much more. So welcome to the Wellness Show, and today I am very excited to have Gary Loper on the show, and we're going to talk about the Twitterverse, not the universe, the Twitterverse. And what he's going to talk about is why you should care. I mean, we know that you want to get out there and make millions and reach millions. So what's Twitter got to do with all that? And Gary's here to help us have a new look at why we should care. So Gary, tell us a bit about who you are.
Oh, thanks, Tyson. Well, who I am, it's an eclectic background. I'm sure like all of us in the healing arts, we've just path after path after path. Most recently, before my dive into social media, and we'll talk about that, I was doing a lot of massage work and healing work. So, I've was an energy practitioner. I've got 8 or 9 different master level teacher levels in that. So I know that I'm just a conduit for information going on all the time. Before that, I have a marketing background, a lot of customer service work for probably over 30 years. And so I've always been in a kind of a teaching, coaching role in all of the different jobs that I've had throughout my life. So I've just used all of those experiences now, and that's how we got into Twitter, was actually kind of a result of some of these things.
Well, that's it. Some of us are addicted to Facebook. So tell them, I am really curious, because I would say I'd spend most of my time on Facebook and almost next to nothing on Twitter. So I guess I did a little educating in this whole process.
Okay. Well, for me, what it was, I started on Facebook and LinkedIn before Twitter, but I went to an event and got introduced to Twitter. And Twitter was in early 2008. Twitter's about 1.5 years old. Nobody knew what they were doing really with it. It was just kind of finding its way. But at about the same time, a little bit, I was doing work as a massage therapist for people with disabilities. And I was getting a lot of emotional support in addition to, time freedom and financial reward. But the funding for that program was eliminated. And so that sort of threw me into a dark funk, and I got locked into the couch for a while.
Yeah.
And in my background, and I'm sure we've all gone through that, we go through these transformations and it just knocks us off. But one of the ways that I got up was I had been studying personal development since I went to school for my marketing degree back in 1989. And I've been studying quotes and collecting them. So I started sharing those quotes on Twitter as a way to be able to stop my depression. And, so selfishly, I went out there to do it. And so in doing that, people started responding to me. I got retweets, I got questions. And that's when I got the tap. That was the first tap. That said, you've been a coach since 1999. You haven't done a thing with it. You're going to coach, and you're going to use Twitter to be able to go out and be able to reach and help the world. And so, that's just been the process. And where the difference for me was that I found real conversations. I found more in-depth conversations because you can get to know people. You're knowing new people. Facebook, LinkedIn, you have to be vetted. So you're only talking to people or kind of sort of know.
Yeah.
And Facebook has all sorts of algorithms, systems to be able to, they don't let you see everything that all your friends are putting out. So Twitter is a wide open, and you can be able to craft your tweets so anybody in the world at any time can see your stuff if they're looking for it.
Well, that's exciting. I never thought of it that way, but with Facebook is getting less and less. I mean, with a group of nearly 2,000, I can reach all of maybe 6 people in a post unless I pay for it, and it's getting worse and worse.
I know Isn't that's depressing? My personal page, you look at it, you keep pouring stuff out there, and 5 or 6 people see it. And I know that at Twitter, I put, I tweet excessively, and you need to build your strength. So don't think you have to be able to go out and put 100, 200 tweets out a day to start. You build up, but I do, and every single one of them get retweeted. There's a lot of comments. People are clicking on the links and sharing it. So it's a visibility thing. And, Facebook is frustrating for me for the exact same reason that 3 or 6 people see your posts.
Right. So I'm assuming that you can do things with Facebook that you can do with Twitter that you can do with Facebook, like you can put no limits to external links, and you can also do videos, and you can also,
all of them, Twitter parties and a lot of other things. But those are kind of you need to be at that sort of a jogging or running phase for being able to look at that. So, where I think a lot of people get confused. So when they start out on Twitter, they're just thinking, okay, well, I'm just going to jump in and go do this stuff. But it's relationship marketing.
Yes.
You need to be able to be working and building trust and rapport with people. And it takes a long time to be able to do that, just like you were dating. If you try to close the deal on the first date, it may be a little fun, but the long-term probability for a successful relationship is limited. So you have to look at it as a long-term thing. And so what I tell people when you start out, what is your purpose? Why are you going to be here? And that's also going to help you from running down a whole lot of other rabbit holes, because we can get distracted and go, oh, this is interesting, and veer off. But if you say, we're going to be here for this, and then that's your focus, you go through there. And it also lets the audience know who you are and what you're an expert at. I worked with a guy who was also a massage therapist, but he also was a landscaper. And he wanted to be able to share both those messages. I could see a bridge between them, but I don't think a lot of other people could see that bridge. So sort of have to pick your purpose, pick a lane to go in, and go through there.
So does that mean, Gary, that you have only one Twitter account, or are you the type of guy that has more than one Twitter account according to your interests?
I would really suggest you start out with one, because otherwise it's kind of like herding cats, rabbits,
Yeah.
You're going through there, and it really takes that time, and you need to get on Twitter and find out who you are, what you are. You need to, learn the language, learn how to get your thoughts down into 100 to 120 characters. So it takes a little while to be able to do that. And if you're too busy trying to be able to say, okay, well, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, that's difficult. What I would suggest, because we all have a lot of different interests, you can create a list. You can create a list to see what's going on. I grew up in Milwaukee, the Green Bay Packers, and a lot of those things, that's familiar for me. But that's not part of my online brand, is talk about the sports interest or some of those other things.
Right.
But I can have a list of those things, so I can watch what's going on in those conversations. And so, I'm knowledgeable about it now, but I don't have to share it if I don't want to. And so there's a lot of ways that you can segment the conversations. And that's what I think a lot of people get overwhelmed with. So you get on Twitter and you start getting a bunch of followers, then the conversations just start coming at you so fast.
Mm-hmm.
But I explain to people, if you went to a football stadium and there were 100,000 people there, they're all having conversations. It's, they're networking. Are you going to want to know everything that's going on in all of those conversations?
God, I hope not.
You wouldn't be able to keep up. One. Yeah. But you want to be able to find the conversations that interest you, that you're going to learn from, and that you can be able to add to. And so you can be able to really narrow down the conversations and the noise, so you can be able to really find a better time. And Twitter is a great tool because it was created as a global public square where everybody can come in and do anything that they wanted to be able to do. Just like, you pull in, you can buy your tomatoes, your cucumbers, a sweater, some candles, somebody will be singing a song, and you can go off to all of these different little niches within the entire Twitterverse. And I think that's ideally perfect.
So tell me about the niches. Like in Facebook, you have groups. So do you have the equivalent in Twitterville?
Well, what you can be able to find those conversations by the use of hashtags.
Okay.
Or you can be able to find other, industry leaders and go follow them and see what they're doing but hashtags is the easiest way. And the hashtag, if you don't know, is the # in front of a word or a series of words with no spaces. So one of them that I use all the time is my hashtag just for today and hashtag affirmation.
Right.
Now the just for today. So what I'm looking at doing is a hashtag. The just for today is my personal hashtag. The just for today is these are little habits, little reminders of something that we can do every day to move us closer to our goal.
Right.
The hashtag affirmation is a bigger conversation. So if somebody's looking for help, they're going to go look for affirmations. If they're looking for affirmations, they're going to type in affirmations. So I want to be able to be found in that bigger conversation, but then I can also create my own niche of just for today affirmations. And you can do that with and you can do that with any topic. The search tools on Twitter are incredible. There's an advanced search tool. You can narrow it down to a zip code if you wanted to be able to find people who are using certain keywords that you can follow them or reach out to them in some way.
So if I did, like one of my interests is I am a master dowser. So if I did hashtag dowsing, that would link me into anybody else on Twitter that's interested in dowsing, for example?
Yep. But I would also look at I'm not familiar with what dowsing is, but, so what would be a bigger term?
I think that's the bigger one. There's geomancy, and then there's pendulum dowsing, or there's, L-rods, or there's land clearing, or exorcism of possession, or there's all sorts of sort of subsets of that. But dowsing is sort of like, it's like the training wheels for intuition on demand.
Okay. For me, what I'm looking at, because I know that I worked with somebody who was into some natural plant medicine, and there's some terms within their specialty that when I did searches on them, the very few topics came up, very few tweets came up. But her bigger conversation was actually around cannabis.
Right.
So we expanded that search and include cannabis and some of the other searches that are around there, because her conversation was an offshoot of that. So people who are interested in cannabis would probably be interested in what she had.
I see. You probably something like energy healing, subset,
energy healing,
dowsing,
law of attraction, something like that, and then they can narrow the conversation down.
Got it. I got it. Okay, so like my handle is, hashtag Tyson, and then it's hashtag the Wellness Show 1. So, we've already begun to start the process somewhat. So we just continue to add more hashtags to that, right?
Right. And what you can do with like each of your shows is there's different themes of each show. So one, you want to be able to use the guest name. So include, at Gary Loper.
Yeah.
And then you can put hashtag Twitter.
Right.
That's the conversation that we're having. And all of your other guests who are working, I think I listened to one guy who had an energy system that was there was a security thing.
Yes, David Adelson. Yeah.
So, you could probably look at something like that about, security.
Yeah.
So because you want people who are looking for that bigger conversation, and use a hashtag like that to be able to attract a bigger audience to you. And then when they get there, Because I don't know how many people would be looking at, an energetic security system like that. That may not be the first thing on a lot of people's minds. But if you went into those healing practitioners, those energy workers, into those conversations and found out what terms that they were using, and then you invite them to come into yours.
Well, maybe something like end violence. Certainly on what's happening in the world, that might be something that would attract people as well, right?
Well, it might, but there's also thing. I'm a big Mother Teresa kind of thing, and there's I think John Lennon said something the same thing. Is I'm never going to go to an anti-war thing, but I'll go to all the peace rallies in the world.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean.
So it's a lot of other things. So I would look at peace, creating peace or make peace.
Creating peace, yeah. Well, that's great. Yeah. I see that there's a way to repurpose the show too. Then just go back and for each one we've done, just figure out the hashtags for it and repurpose each one of the shows, right, over a period of time.
Exactly. Well, exactly, and the same thing with anybody's blogs. There are other shows. I did a blog talk radio show for a while. Those shows, those recordings, are still rotating through my Twitter stream.
Right.
I learned a long time ago, and even one of the earlier tweets that I put out for one of my blogs, somebody saw it 5 years after I wrote it because I tweeted about it, and they needed to hear that message at that time. And I really think that that's one of the other services that we need to do as healers is to, these messages come through us, but it's not just for that time. It's just not that short window that we created it. It's forever. Yeah. So somebody else they may be on their journey, and they may need to hear that message that I wrote 5 years ago. They may need to hear it 3 years from now because that's when it's right for them.
I like that. So
I'm a big believer in don't make them work. Just put it out there and let the universe. And that's actually one of my big stories about Twitter, where it makes a big difference. Is we teach people to be able to make it all about the audience. What are they looking for? How can we help them? How can we serve them? One of my big components is that we enhance the lives of other people. And that's where my Just for Today affirmations come in. And I share a lot of motivational quotes because they were important for me, getting me up. But those Just for Today affirmations, I wrote about 800 of them. So they're all in rotation. And a little over 2 years ago, a girl wrote to me. And she says, I can never thank you enough for what your tweets have done for me. So I asked her to tell me more in an email. And then so she tells me that she's got a debilitating disease and she was contemplating suicide until one of those Just for Today affirmations showed up on her stream at the time that she was making that decision. So again, that was a bigger tap. That was a bigger tap for me because I know, we never know how a smile or a good gesture to somebody could really be able to impact their lives. So I'm a big proponent that we got good messages. We want to send that energy out, whether they work with us or not.
Yeah,
we can touch lives, and in doing that, sets up a magnet for other people who are of the same energy, of the same mindset, who'd want to come work with us, and because we're going out there and we're exhibiting who we are and what our purposes are.
Well, I was doing something similar to that, and I wasn't getting any traction around it, where I was sending out a quote every day through email. So you've inspired me to reactivate them. I must have almost 365. Just put them on the Twitter feed and put them out there with hashtags, and people will get it when they need to get it, and it will inspire people when they need to be inspired, and just let it have a life of its own in Twitterville.
Yep. And I would encourage you, and there's something, you'd want to be able to tweet more than once a day, especially if you want to be found. If you're there for business, if you're not tweeting at least 20 times a day, you're invisible.
Wow.
And a lot of people will say, 20 tweets a day, what am I going to tweet about? And I said, well, okay, it's not about you.
Yeah.
7 to 10 of those tweets are going to be retweets where you're sharing somebody else's stuff. There's going to be a number of tweets where you're sharing articles that position you as an expert. There's going to be a number of tweets that are engagement, where you're going out and thanking people for retweeting you, following up on conversation or complimenting somebody else. Because like anything else, if you want engagement, you have to give engagement first, because people are watching to see if you're real. And that's how we sort of audition for people to go through.
Yeah.
And then only
you said that on Facebook. So I'll just have to take those skills from Facebook and transplant them over to Twitter and get on with it.
Yeah. Isn't it interesting though? Because these are the same skills that we would do in live networking.
Yes.
Or in social settings. I don't see any difference. It's still relationship building.
Yeah.
So instead of having, necessarily, the screen, or you're in my living room, you're connected, and I can get you in my living room through Skype or something else in a heartbeat and make friends around the world in a more powerful way than I had before.
Absolutely. So tell me about this. You're talking about a Twitter party. What's that?
Twitter parties or Twitter chats they're a specific conversations. If you sort of turn back the Wayback Machine a little bit, so we're going to go back to like AOL chat rooms.
Yes.
And so it's a chat room that's going on about a specific topic or conversation. And now when I was hosting Twitter parties, we would have, an hour, most of them are about an hour. Mine were a little longer, 2-3 hours. And we would post questions like every 5-6 minutes. And then people would respond and have these conversations. And you'd get to be able to know one another from their responses. And we encourage each other to go through that. So it's a lot of ways just to be able to bring awareness to a question, a problem, a philosophy. I helped a couple of people do book launches where we took aspects of their book and brought that up and sort of did an interview via Twitter. We've done interviews using a webinar and Twitter, where the audience was able to watch the webinar and tweet responses. So it's a great way to expand your reach. But we're just talking about hosting one, but Twitter chats and Twitter parties also a great way for you to be able to go connect with people who have a similar interest to you. So go follow those industry leaders, go follow them and go see what Twitter chats that they're in and go and participate in them. And that's a great way for a lot of people to get to know you and your voice. And every single one that I've joined, I always get a handful of new followers who are very, very smart, intelligent, spiritual-based people.
So how do you now make the link, or do you, in your particular case, back to your, being an energy healer and a person that's delivering your coaching to the world? How do you make the link between what you're doing on Twitter, your clients, and what you're delivering?
Well, like I said, with the energy work that I'm doing, I'm a conduit. So it's a 24-hour conduit. That energy, the work comes through me. And the prayers that I did, when I did body work and things, was that whatever's needed comes through me and make it available to whoever I'm working with. And so now I just expand that. So it's not just coming through my hands now, it's coming through my fingers, it's coming through my words.
Right.
And so that's my coaching. And I use that on Twitter, like we said, with the young lady's suicide, was those messages go out there. So I have a huge trust in the universe that the messages that I'm putting out there are going to make a positive impression in people's lives, whether I know it or not. And the fact now that I do know it, it makes me more, it's a little bit of a responsibility to be able to go out there and share that positive message.
Yeah,
because, we've talked about a lot of the things that are going on in the world. And it's like, I don't put any negative messages out there. I don't respond to negative message, or, we get trolls, people who are trying to be able to bait you into into an argument or something. I don't do it. I just choose to be able to play a higher role.
So how do you pay the bills? Is there a connection between what you're doing on Twitter and paying your bills?
Sure. I attract coaching clients.
Yeah.
I attract I attract people into my the Twitterverse Flight School, which is a 12-hour training course that I've done, recorded webinars that people can learn from zero to intermediate on Twitter. I help manage accounts where we can be able to create their presence for them 24/7. We can help add them followers. So there's a lot of different other done-for-you services we can do, as well as consulting and speaking.
So do you do that as a team? Do you have a team, or are you the lone wolf?
Currently, my team is my wife and I.
Oh, that's great. It's nice to have you work with your wife. That's powerful.
Yeah, and it is. There's a huge energy connection, because she also has a lot of, she's a channeler. She does a lot of other things. She's a graphic artist. She's an editor, so she's able to put a lot nicer touches on some of my stuff, and clean up the grammar at times. Right. So it's a great combination.
Yeah, that sounds fantastic. So how do people find you? Where are you as far as? Well, I guess just your handle then, eh? Is it hashtag Gary? Loper?
Well, Loper, yeah. Loper, like a low purring cat.
I like a low purring cat.
Gary Loper. It's, if you Googled it, if you put it up on Twitter, if you put it up on Facebook, you'll find me.
Yeah, and now you're Gary Loper. World famous because you've been interviewed on the Wellness Show.
It's just going to expand. It's just going to keep getting better. There are more people to serve.
Absolutely.
But, yeah, you can just be able to type it in. Facebook may be confusing because there's 11 other Gary Lopers that are out there.
Yes.
But you find me in St. Petersburg, Florida, you'll be able to connect.
Great. Well, this is really exciting. So, what other things do you want to leave us with about Twitter and why we need to get excited? Well, you already got me excited, so you've accomplished that. So I am excited to revisit this world that I've sort of thought, oh God, I don't want to do another one. Facebook is already time-consuming enough. But you're absolutely right. It seems to me like Facebook is becoming dead in the world. It's just, and if you're not prepared to pay the big bucks, you're not going to really get anywhere. So to me, that's frustrating. So the Twitter universe provides a new opportunity to reach more people, to grow your tribe, and to get your message out there. I like that. Sounds good.
Yep. And you can even use Twitter to be able to draw them into your Facebook group to be able to create some new life into your discussions there. But probably one of the biggest things I know for me, with my background in the healing arts, is I noticed there's a lot of people, who are very driven by their work, their passion, their gifts, but they don't know marketing. They don't know how to be able to position themselves. They don't know how to get their message out. They don't know how to communicate with that. It's one of the things that I love to be able to do. And even if you don't choose not to work with me and to do it yourself, Twitter is a great way for you to be able to go and make those connections. And there's not one person I haven't met who doesn't want to make some kind of positive impact in the world. And you can do that as much as in one single tweet at a time. And I really think that by doing that and being able to, look for somebody who maybe you already found that path to be able to go and go work with them. So how you can be able to go out there and spread your message. Because there's a lot of things out there, and there's a lot of work for all of us to be able to do. We can't possibly take care of everybody by ourselves.
No, if we want to be planetary change agents, we got a big job to do.
Right. And we can make that change by just touching, even 5% of the audience. Yeah. And we can just, and they're going to touch. That's the one thing that I saw too, is a lot of people, even healing arts, they were very competitive, and I couldn't understand that. But, we just look, there's a bigger picture. There's more people to serve, and you can get your message and your energy and your story out. And then that turns on the magnet. There's a law of attraction, right? So you're putting yourself out there. Yeah. You're putting your blogs, your messages, your recordings, and you're letting people find it. And the universe is going to drive them to you, because now you can solve their problems. And, we have a big discussion about, objections and sales and trying to go find more customers. Isn't it so much nicer to be able to have people coming to us and say, hey, I want to work with you.
Yeah, I like that.
And then he's
Great.
go, oh,
So Gary, tell me about your book as we wrap this up. You've written a book about all this, right?
yeah, my Master the Twitterverse. It's a free ebook. You can get it at GaryLoper.com. There, you can just be able to go click on that, leave your email address. And what that is a lot of the things that we shared here and a lot of other tips that I learned in the first couple of years being on Twitter to sort of demystify it for people.
Right. Great.
Really make it a conversation, make it a relationship, and we'll keep in touch with you. We got a lot of other support information that can go out with that Twitterverse ebook that you'll get. We'll stay in contact with you, and follow me on Twitter at Gary Loper, and just drop a note. Say you heard us with Tyson on a wellness show. We'll be sure to follow you and be able to see how we can be able to help you.
Well, let me just put a plug in now because the two fit together. I'm launching the Entrepreneurship for the Spiritually Gifted program. It will include how to learn how to do masterminding, how to grow your business, how to make millions and reach millions. And guess what? Gary's going to be one of our people that's going to be in the group coaching that we'll have once a week to help you develop your tribe through Twitter. So I'm looking forward to that opportunity, and there'll be more on that. If you just go to the Academy website that hosts the wellness show, all the details will be there. So Gary, it was awesome to have you on the program. We're going to have you back. Obviously, we haven't learned everything we need to learn in the Twitter universe, but at least we've launched our rocket to go and investigate. So thank you.
Oh, it's my pleasure. And it's an honor to be able to be working with you coming up. And, like anything else, it's a step at a time. Just life, it's going to unfold. You'll learn it.
Yeah, one step at a time. So thank you.
Happy tweeting, everybody. Bye-bye.
Happy tweeting.
For quality online wellness products, courses, and services, visit our sponsors, thewellnessstore.ca and the Extraordinary Healing Arts Academy located at thewellnessacademy.ca. To stay in touch, visit us at thewellnessshow.ca. And until next time, be healthy, wealthy, and wise.